Yo guys, and today these are the videos that I always get excited for, reacting to my Premier League 2021-22 predictions. When I do these prediction videos reacting to, I do really enjoy this, and this season has been an interesting one. Without any further ado, let's just get straight into the video. So, starting from the bottom to the top, 20th, I went with Norwich and I got it bang on. No offence to Norwich. I say they're a yo-yo club, but so are we now. Realistically, as a Watford fan, so are we. I just didn't see Norwich doing that well in the Prem. They didn't make any big signings. I think they had Ben Gibson. They sold Emi Buendia, which was a massive loss for them. They didn't make. It's the fact that they were pretty poor in the 2019-20 season, and yet they still didn't make any real changes to the squad when they went back up. So if you don't change the squad, how are you expected to change where you are in the league? I don't know, maybe they didn't have the money, I don't know, they sacked Dean Smith, went through a little decent phase, but they just went back down again. So yeah, 20th Norwich, I got that bang on. 19th, I went with Burnley, and they were 18th. Don't want to jinx it, but this is a good start, you know. I don't think many people would have gone with Burnley to go down, because they're always that team that look like, you know, they're going to go down every season, and they don't. But I feel like this year was a step too far. It's like every year they didn't spend that much money, and they was somehow, Dyche was just clinching onto the Premier League. And despite spending a bit of money on Maxwell Cornet, I still think it was a step too far to be in the Premier League this season. So they came, I put them 19th, they came 18th, so I've only got 1 point so far. In 18th, I went with Crystal Palace. Oh, it was so good while it lasted. They came 6 places higher, they came 12th. I think it was a bit at the start of the season, you were either going to say Patrick Vieira was going to do really bad or really well. Like, it's a bit of a risk with a manager who didn't have that much experience. I think he had a New York City managerial under his belt, and I think he was working with Man City for a bit. He didn't really have anything on his CV apart from that New York City, so it was really hard to judge. So it was either you predict him to do well, predict him to do bad, and he proved us all wrong. He proved me wrong, and he actually did really well. It's fair play to him. I was 6 off of that one. 17th, I went with Southampton. They came 15th, just 2 off with that one, and realistically just 2 points. Southampton had a decent start to the league. They were around 10th or 9th, I think around Christmas. They weren't far off Europe, and then they just had a really bad second half of the season. They really dropped, losing, was it like 7-0 to Chelsea, lost to us, lost to Norwich. They went on a pretty poor one. I was only 2 off that one. 16th, I went with Brighton, and they came 9th. I put them 16th, they came 9th. That's 7 wrong. That's that's up there with Palace, and that's joint with Palace as my worst prediction so far. I think Brighton have always just been that team between like 17th to 15th. They've just always been that little team. And Graham Potter just had them playing such good football at the start of the season. Like, Mupé was absolutely smashing it in the goals. Bazuma was doing well until that whole incident that happened. He stopped playing for a bit. But they came back and they beat the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham. Trossard was banging in goals, and they smashed Man United 4-0, and they proved me wrong massively. So fair play to Brighton. In 15th, I had Brentford. They came 13th, so I wasn't too far. I was about 6 points off of that. I expected them to do pretty well. I was shocked to hear they kept Ivan Toney. I think someone, at least like a top 6, maybe has to smash him up this summer. Brentford have done well, but he's got to be getting like Europe, I reckon. After beating Chelsea 4-1, they went through a bit of a phase. They got smashed by Southampton, drew with a poor Newcastle team at the side, but they went off and beat Chelsea, got a point against Tottenham. They beat Arsenal at the start of the season. I remember that was a brilliant win for them. And 13th, when I predicted them 15th. So that's pretty good. That's not actually that bad. 14th, I went with my club Watford. We finished 19th. 5 off of that. And also, I predicted that Hyungbo would have a good season. And he didn't even play a game. He went out on loan to Ross County. Yeah, I said that our attack would cut in the Prem with Josh King, Dennis, Sarr, Hyungbo. I thought this is amazing. And Dennis had a good start to the season, so he kind of proved me right there, and then he was just shocking for the second half. Roy Hodgson. It's not necessarily the second managers that's the problem, it's the managers that we employ in the first place. Like you're appointing Ranieri, who we actually did kind of well attacking wise. He got the best out of Dennis when he came in, but defensive wise he was pretty shocking. And then Roy Hodgson came in and he was utter useless. He was just a guy who just came here to get his paycheck, and he was there for the vibes. Have you not seen him? Was it like I think it was the Burnley game where he was just sat there in his sunglasses chilling, like no wins, just summer vibes. Yeah, just an awful season for us, and 5 wrong on that one. 13th, I went with West Ham. This was a tough one. West Ham, with Europe, West Ham have had, I think, like 2 seasons in Europe since 2016. I think they got one in 2016 and 2017, and then ever since then they've just been that mid-table team. Then in 2021 they were flying undeniable. Like the players were all on drugs. Do you know what I mean? They were absolutely incredible. Came 6th, and I just felt like they couldn't handle Europe and the Premier League, and they wobbled sometimes in the Premier League. They had a bit of a wobble, but they came 7th, so I'd say they proved me wrong there. 12th, I went with Newcastle. They finished 11th. They were 1 point off of 12th. Now, I feel like, now don't get me wrong, they didn't, with the takeover, they didn't spend crazy. Like they signed Chris Wood, Burn, and they went out and signed Trippier, so he was probably like the main big signing. But Burn and Wood weren't really like massive signings. I don't think it was much to do with the signings, how they did so well, if I'm honest. I don't think it had much to do with the takeover. I think it was just that Eddie Howe came in and did a really good job, a really good manager, and he's worked with some of the players there before. Matt Ritchie, Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson, and he knew what he was doing, and I think they spent smart, not big. They didn't spend big, they spent smart, and I think that was good play for them. So I predicted them come 12th and finished 11th, and I'm not blaming that on the takeover. 11th place, I predicted Aston Villa. They came 14th. Now, a big loss for them when they lost Jack Grealish. Dean Smith was still in charge, but they went out and signed like Emi Buendia, Danny Ings. Who's the other one that they signed? I think Matty Cash wasn't there last. I can't remember, they signed someone else. And Luca Digne. And I think that I knew Jack Grealish was going to be a big miss, but the amount of players they brought in, I thought they can't do much worse. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they're going to have a massive drop off because of the players they've signed. And I was only 3 ahead of that one, so I think they did have a bit of a wobble during the season. Getting the double over, Watford doing the double over them, do you know what I mean, which is pretty poor. But yeah, I'm not too bothered about that one because I think a lot of people knew they'll struggle without Grealish. In 10th, oh no, this is the bad one. I went with Arsenal. They came 5th now. I think putting Arsenal in fifth, I hold my hands up, was just silly. It was really silly. But how they played last season, especially at the start, they were like 15th in December 2020 or something. Do you know what I mean? And it was only like the new year when they actually started to do well. They were really poor the season before, and I just didn't feel like they would get Europe. I didn't think about they didn't have Europa League, and I was just sat there thinking they were awful last season, and I just didn't feel confident they'll beat many of the big seven. And they went through a good phase around Christmas. You know, they had a really poor start, losing to Brentford, Chelsea, Arsenal, and even though it was only 3 games in, I thought, yes, they proved me right. But no, they went on a really good run, and they just missed out on top 4. It's fair play to them. 9th, I went with Wolves. They came 10th. I was one off. Losing Nuno, didn't really know how it was going to go. Bit of a risk. Didn't really know much about this Bruno guy. They brought in a striker, and he was flying at the start of the season. They went through a really good phase where they were in, you know, the European spots when they were in like 7th, and they only missed out on 7th by 6 points. You know, it was tight. So they actually had a really good season. And I was only one off, so you're not always going to get them dead on, so I'm happy with that. 8th, I went with Everton. I thought Rafa Benitez was going to do really well. He didn't do too bad, but he didn't do great. But I think he did awful. I'm sorry, but Everton was shocking. I got like 8 off 8. I just don't know what happened to Everton. I know Calvert-Lewin had an injury, but they were just shocking. They were really poor. No one expects him to be in a relegation battle. You know, this time last year, no one expects him to be in a relegation battle, let's be honest. 7th, I went with Leeds. Now, they definitely suffered second season syndrome. I was 10 points off. They finished 17th now. Bielsa's a really good manager. Was it a risk? Did it pay off to sack him? Well, you don't know, because where would Bielsa finish? Would he have gone down? I don't know, because I feel like if they had kept Bielsa and survived, I reckon they should have backed Bielsa and then kicked on. I reckon that would have been the best solution. You know, back him in the transfer window, spend some money, and they could have kicked on and, you know, had a bit of a rebuild, a bit of a fresh start. That's what I think would have been the best solution. But they sacked him, a risk that I guess paid off. They survived. Brought in Jesse March from America, and he went on to get some big wins and managed to keep him up. But I think they were definitely underperformed, and I think they should have kept Bielsa. 6th, I went with Leicester. They came 8th, so they went for a really poor spell. They were like 13th at one point not too long ago. I don't really know what to make of this. A draw against Everton, a loss against Everton, a loss against Newcastle. They went through some pretty bad stages. They lost 6-3 to Man City, but then they went on and beat Liverpool 1-0. They went on and beat Liverpool 1-0. Beat Man United. I only lost 1-0 to Man City. I only lost 1-0 to Man City. I don't know, they had a decent spell, but I don't know. I was only 2 wrong. 5th, I went with Spurs. They came 4th. I was so close. Felt like Nuno I thought at the time was a decent appointment. He did well with Wolves. Didn't have the best season last season, but I just thought for some reason Tottenham was a really good match for him. No offence, but not the biggest of clubs. It's not a load of pressure, but it's a step up from Wolves. I thought this was the best option for him, and they could kick on and just about miss out on top four or even possibly get top four. But no, he was sacked. They brought in Antonio Conte and they finished fourth. So I was kind of close, but not at the same time, realistically. Fourth, I went with Chelsea. Now, basically, I did not think the top four through at all. Man United's finish above Chelsea again. I don't want to sound salty. Well, I'm not even a Chelsea fan, but I think Man United finishing second last season was a bit of a fluke. Like, I think Liverpool were really poor. Chelsea were pretty poor at the start of the season. I don't know what went through my head for Chelsea to finish fourth with Thomas Tuchel, Champions League winner, and I also put Liverpool in third. I thought for some reason, I didn't think it through, that Man United would finish above Liverpool and Chelsea. Why didn't I just use my head? I know it's easier to say it now when it's finished, when the season's finished, but surely Liverpool put Man United fourth, Chelsea third, Liverpool second. That's what I should have done. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, somehow Man U to finish second, Liverpool to finish third, which meant I got Man City right to win the league. So I think Man City win the league is kind of obvious, I guess. Like, Liverpool had a bad spell last season. They were kind of still coming back from that. But I got the bottom half of the table decent, especially the relegation bit. And then I just completely fumbled towards the top. I thought Chelsea, the top four was just... Actually, no, from fourth to second was just awful. Just brainless for me. It really was. I think I only got one right, and that would have been Burnley. I had no, wait. No, sorry, that was Norwich. I had Burnley to come 19th. I got one right. I know it's hard to predict the league, and realistically, if you look at others, they don't get too much right, but to get one right, that is appalling. Some of them I went too far, like Newcastle or Southampton, but one right, and that was, no offence, but Norwich come bottom was what a lot of people thought. I had Burnley to go down, so I had two of the relegation teams to go down, which is pretty good, but one, yeah. As everyone said, Watford, we go again next year. That's what they always say, and then they just bottle it again. So yeah, drop a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you're new. This has been shocking. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.